The interview is that self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist, independent Vermont Senator, and Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, who right now is on something of a roll. Senator, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Rachel.
So how is it going now versus how you thought it would be going by now? I will preface this by saying it seems to me that things are going very well for you right now in your campaign.
They are going very well. We had a wonderful kickoff in Burlington, Vermont, with over 5,000 people. Tremendous turnout in New Hampshire. Great overflow crowds in Iowa. And then we were in Minneapolis on Sunday morning, and we put this meeting together only with a few days advance notice. We had 4,000 people coming out. So I think the message is resonating. People are tired of establishment politics and economics. They want to be part of a movement which stands up to the billionaire class and says enough is enough. Our country, our government belong to all of us and just a few. So I think things are going well so far.
You've had, as you mentioned, that very large turnout in Minneapolis on very short notice. Thousands of people turning out to see you, more people that could fit in the venue. The New York Times also described your event last Thursday in Davenport, Iowa, as the largest turnout any candidate from either party has been able to turn out in Iowa so far this year. When you first declared, one of the things that we talked about was whether or not you felt like you were able to upscale the infrastructure of your campaign to take advantage of all that enthusiasm. Is that underway?
It is, Rachel. It's tough stuff. We are going to very clearly be outspent by our opponents. I don't have a super PAC. Millionaires are not going to contribute to my campaign. But as of now, we have had contributions at BernieSanders.com from 130,000 Americans with an average contribution of about $40. We have had a lot more people sign up and want to help out in the campaign. So what we're trying to do now is build the infrastructure, put more people on the ground in Iowa and in New Hampshire and elsewhere, and we're scaling up literally as we speak.
You've also made a dramatic and creative proposal, I think, in terms of how the debate schedule ought to be changed. And you've made a bunch of suggestions to the Democratic Party in terms of things that you'd like, the ways you think it could be done differently and more creatively. But why specifically are you proposing that Democrats and Republicans should start debating each other now before the two parties have their nominees?
I will tell you why, Rachel. In a sense, the Republicans get away with murder. They have an absolutely reactionary agenda. You know, they may vary a little bit from this candidate to the other, but basically what these guys are about are huge tax breaks for billionaires, massive cuts in Medicare, Medicaid, education, nutrition, environmental programs, and also clearly, as some of the Republican candidates like Jeb Bush and Chris Christie have talked about, they want to cut Social Security. Now, they get away with that stuff because a lot of people don't know what they are talking about. And I think if we can confront them honestly and say to their face, when so many seniors are struggling right now, how in God's name are you talking about cutting Social Security when we should expand it? When kids can't afford to go to college now, why are you talking about cutting Pell Grants by $90 billion? Why are you on the payroll of the Koch brothers and other billionaires rather than addressing the needs of working families? If we can confront them and debate issues rather than allow the media to get into political gossip and polling and fundraising, but talk about the issues, I think their agenda does not reflect more than 15 or 20% of the American people.
When I think about the Republican candidates and their motivations and what they might want to do, it's hard for me to imagine strategically that a lot of them would want to start debating with the Democratic side for, I think, some of the reasons that you just described. But in a smaller sense, a lot of them are really up against it in terms of not maybe making it into their party's formal debates. Because of that, because there may be some desperation among some pretty credible Republican candidates, are you thinking about going outside the system and trying to ad hoc organize these things with the Republican candidates?
Look, Rachel, in the last election, as you know, 63% of the American people didn't vote, 80% of young people didn't vote. It is no great secret that political consciousness in this country is not terribly high, which is not an accident. That's what the big money people really want. So I think in any way we can create serious debate on serious issues. How can the Republican Party ignore science in terms of climate change? with so much massive income and wealth inequality, why do they want in their budget to raise taxes on working families? So I think the more that we have that clash of ideas, I think we win. I think people become more engaged in the political process. I think it's a good thing for progressives. I think it's a good thing for American democracy.
Senator Bernie Sanders, candidate for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States. Sir, it's always great to see you. Thank you very much for being with us.